What's up, everybody? So I'm back in Medellin. I'm shooting some real estate videos. I wanted to talk about why I think Medellin is the best and the worst place to live. And every time I come back to Medellin, I always have like a different opinion about it. Like sometimes I'll really like it and I'll remember all the beautiful things about it. I will talk to the people and then I'll see some crime happening. Then I remember, oh yeah, this is the reasons why I don't like it. Now I remember how friendly all the people were. All of the taxi drivers, if you can speak Spanish, you can talk to them about everything. Yesterday, a retired police officer who drove me home, and him and I would talk about crime. Venezuelan lady who drove me to this apartment, and her and I would talk about her experience as a Venezuelan person. People here that you'll meet are like super real, and most of it's like the working class or the people that are not from here. A lot of the people in Medellin are not necessarily from Medellin, very similar to LA. I always ask them what do they think about Medellin culture. It's always the same thing. It's a very hustler kind of culture. It's always about fast money. The women are always trying to get with the guy with the most money. Sex is very like transactional, it's tradable. Obviously, it's not everybody. All of these things, if you just walk around and ask the locals, they will all tell you the same thing. So that's why I'm pretty adamant about my opinion about Medellin and Paisa culture. Because of the way the city is set up, you have like a level of anonymity where you can kind of be whatever you want. You want to go to an apartment, kind of smoke some weed with your friends? Cool, no problem. Nobody's gonna bother you. You want to go to Parquilleras and get a prepago and then bring them back to your hotel? Cool, that's a part of the culture. To be able to live out your, I don't know if fantasy is the word, but to be able to live out this part of you, like really cool amount of freedom that allows you to explore yourself through drugs or through art or through all the hippie stuff, you know? There's a lot of acceptance here for everything. So I was thinking about this analogy. Medellin is like playing a game of Russian roulette. If you shoot and it's a blank, it's like the best time of your life. You're gonna really love it here. The views are amazing. Everything's really cheap, even though things are going up now, which is crazy. Obviously the beautiful women everywhere, even though to be honest, bro, I actually think it's a little overhyped now. I was walking around Parquilleras yesterday just to kind of see what was going on. I wanted to see what the police were doing, like because they said they were gonna take action against the prostitutes. And there weren't quite as many as I thought they would be. They all kind of got pushed to like Calle 10, the main street. There weren't any like really attractive ones. A lot of them looked really young, like in the 16, 17, made me feel kind of gross. Girls who were extremely like operated, so super exaggerated. Honestly, bro, I was not very impressed by like what I guess the talent was. Maybe a few months ago it was a lot better, but if you do get the bullet, then you actually can die, or you can get drugged, or you can get robbed, and the consequences are really big. So I would say like most people's experiences here are actually gonna be really good, especially if you live in like Poblado and in nicer areas. But there's always that chance that something really bad is going to happen to you. Every single day I see new news of a guy getting drugged, or a guy getting robbed, or a guy dying, or getting murdered. A lot of people like to make the comparison that, you know, Colombia is safer than the US because we have all these mass shootings. Yeah, it's true. We have a lot more mass shootings in the US. I actually think it's more of a mental health problem than it is like a gun problem. In the US, you're never gonna get rid of guns. It's too embedded in the culture. And here we live in a culture that's technically guns are illegal and all the criminals have it. That's another issue, right? It's true, because when you get robbed on the street, a criminal will pull a gun on you and you have no way to defend yourself. These guys will not hesitate to kill you. Medellin is very much like the Wild West. Specifically here in Medellin, it feels that all the best and the worst parts of humanity are shown here. And I do believe that the people here are really friendly, actually, like walking around and being able to say what's up to people. But I think Manizales friendliness is still on a whole nother level. I think it also depends on which barrios you visit, because in the lower key barrios, like La Reales is a good mix. If you go to places like Belén, I have a buddy who lives in Bello, I don't know how he does that. It's still kind of a different world than the people from Poblado. So I was also having a thought about why Medellin seems to have this culture of fast money and prepagos, right? For the longest time, I think a lot of people blame gringos, me included, right? That the gringos came here and exploited it. But talking to the locals, they all think that it's actually Colombia's fault for allowing this to happen, because this culture was already here in Colombia. Gringos just found out about it and just started showing it to the world. I would say most of prostitution here, the client is not gringos. A lot of Colombians take part in it as well. And very similar to like Hollywood or something, it's a very status-based society. Because of all the hot women here, I think a lot of men are trying to, you know, get that. They want the fame, they want the status, and they want the women. It led to Medellin advancing so quickly. I feel like in these last 3 years, the city has advanced so much. There's so many new restaurants. All the prices have gone up significantly. There's so many more people trying to live and move here. All these men are trying to get the status, and the women, I think it's causing us to like advance more. And that's why I feel like Medellin is a very forward-thinking society. Sex and women and all these things are very good motivator. Where I am in Manizales, the people there are a lot more small-minded. They're not very entrepreneurial. If they think about doing a business, it's like a coffee shop or hamburgers or something that's always been done before. But I feel like here in Medellin, they're a lot more forward-thinking, a lot more innovative, and a lot more like entrepreneurial. But I was asking my friends yesterday, do you think that Medellin people are happy? And she was slow to respond, and she was saying that yes, But because here in Medellin, you're exposed to everything, especially with all the foreigners coming now, I think people are always looking for more, looking for the next best food, next best thing, the next hottest girl, the guy with more money. And I think that's the downside of living in a big city, because you're exposed to so much, you're never content, you're always looking for something else. Whereas in Manizales, something I love and respect, they're happy just taking a vacation to the city 30 minutes away. They think Manizales is the best city in the world. They think frijoles and arepa is like the best food in the world. They're happy with the first person that they get into a relationship with, like their first girlfriend, they want to marry them, and they just think about having a house closer to their family and staying in their city. And it's very small-minded, but they're actually some of the most happy people that I've ever met in my life. So it's kind of like a paradox, right? You can go to Medellin where there's more opportunity and there's more things to do, it's more beautiful, but you're never really happy. I feel like most of the people here are on drugs or are medicated or something. And the energy here is really, really heavy. When you go to a place like Manizales, it doesn't have a lot of like the city amenities, even though it's pretty nice still. But the people are super happy, they're super friendly, it's extremely safe, and it's like a night and day difference in vibe. So I guess it really depends on what you're looking for. But I think Medellin is a really good place to distract yourself. You can get caught up in the lifestyle, you just end up like getting distracted for too long instead of trying to actually live your life and improve. I think for me, when I was here, Medellin was like a phase of my life. I learned a lot by being here. A lot of bad experiences happened to me here that shaped me into the man I am today. But now that I'm here in the city, looking back, I think that Medellin is an extremely beautiful city. I understand why people want to live here and want to move here. If I were to start my journey all over again, I probably would have come to Medellin and I probably would love living here again. But now that I understand the culture and I've been able to talk to so many people, it's like the best and the worst thing that can happen to you. And at least for me, I'm a lot happier now knowing that I can go home to my house in Manizales. And I see my wife, I have my friends, they all have my back. And there's a level of peace there that I have never been able to achieve here in Medellin. For some reason, the biggest defenders of Medellin are not the locals, or actually the gringos. The gringos that move here, Medellin is like their identity. So when you attack the city or you say bad things about it, they feel like their identity is being attacked, which is kind of weird. There's something about the city that's so charming that makes you never want to leave here. I used to think it was just for like the girls and the weather and stuff, but I think there's still a lot of charm about the city. It's still extremely beautiful. At the nighttime, when you see all the lights come on the mountain, it's just like, oh my god, these views are like some of the best views in the city you'll ever see. I think I've seen too much of the bad Medellin. It's just something that I personally don't want to live in. Man, the traffic has been really bad. The safety has been a real issue in Medellin for a while. There's a very heavy sexual energy in the city. Would still recommend Medellin to most people, but if you're looking for a peaceful way of life and you're trying to calm yourself and be a little more spiritual, I feel like Medellin is probably the worst place for it. I think a lot of times I'm very harsh on the city because I always talk about the bad, but then when I come back, I can understand all the things that I loved about the city when I first got here. But I think just over time, and when bad things happen to you here, you kind of develop a bad taste in your mouth. So I apologize for that. That's probably the most unbiased review I can give of Medellin. I am working on my moving to Colombia course. It's going to be a straight up guide from everything that you need, from moving here to learning Spanish, to meeting people, to setting up an apartment, your visa situation. It's going to be the most detailed guide of living in Colombia that you'll find on the internet. It's currently in the research phase, but if you're watching this after April 2023, it will be out already. I'm going to put the link in the description down below. The first 15 people will get it at a huge discount plus a consultation, and I think it's going to go in phases depending on the demand and everything. So the second phase is going to be a certain price, but if there's a high demand, the price may even go up. So watch out for that. If you guys have any suggestions or any topics that you want me to cover, fill out the survey or leave a comment down below. Thanks.